Bradford City continue their 2024-25 league campaign with a trip to high-flying Crewe Alexandra, and in today's video you're going to find out how both teams have got on so far this season, what my starting 11 would be for this match if I was Crewe Alexandra, a starting 11 which won't include Andy Cook as he is suspended after accumulating 5 yellow cards so far this campaign. Let's get into it. Let me know down in the comment section down below if you prefer the match previews in this type of style where I'm next to all the information that I'm telling you, or do you prefer with a blurred background and the overlay in front. But my team Bradford City, we currently sit 10th in the Sky Bet League 2 table. After 17 matches we've got 6 wins, 6 draws and 5 defeats. That's very mediocre, isn't it? Very mid-table. We've scored 22 goals and conceded the 18, which leaves us on a positive 4 goal difference and 24 points. Our last couple of matches then have been a draw, a loss, and a draw. So 5 without a win now in the league. We're only somehow still only 4 points off the playoffs with a game in hand, but we are now 8 points off of the automatic promotion places. We need to start picking up wins. Crewe away, I think we've been there 3 times in the last 5 or 6 seasons, something like that. We've lost all 3 games. I've been at all 3 matches, and obviously Crewe charged £28 for an adult ticket, and then you've got to pay £3 in fees, which Bradford City charge £31 for a match ticket, where Bradford City are not going to have Andy Cook for this game. I think I'll pass, thank you, and it's on Sky, I'm pretty sure. In terms of our last couple of matches then, we had a 1-1 draw at home to Barrow AFC. Statistically, it was quite an even game. Maybe we slightly edged it, but it certainly didn't feel like we had 8 shots in the match. We didn't even have a shot in the game until right before the half-time mark, but a really disappointing result in all honesty. 2 teams who were clearly lacking the confidence. Barrow will surely be the happier of the 2 sides with the point. Andy Cook once again rescuing a point for us with yet another goal. I think his 10th league goal of the season already, and we're only in December. He's absolutely flying so far this campaign, and he's the reason why we're still in the Football League, but that was a really disappointing result for us. We also had a 1-0 defeat away at Morecambe in the FA Cup at second round. Neil Byrne being sent off in the 77th minute. He'll be serving his second of a 3-match ban in this one against Crewe. Obviously he threw Jordan Slew into the advertising boards, and then the Morecambe man would score the winner 4 minutes later. So that saw us crash out of the FA Cup, and of course Morecambe drew Chelsea away in the next round, but statistically we didn't really deserve much from that match. We also had a 1-0 defeat at home to Rotherham United. They scored really early on in the game with their only shot on target, and then for the remainder of the match we had chance after chance, piled on the pressure, especially in the second half. We hit the woodwork 3 or 4 times as well, but just again couldn't find that breakthrough. Another match where numerous different people were given an opportunity and nobody could score if Andy Cook doesn't score, which is really concerning for us. We also had a 1-1 draw away at Colchester. Guess who? Andy Cook once again on the score sheet with our only shot on target in the match. We sat back, tried to defend the 1-0, and then we allowed Jamie McDonald to have a free header in the 99th minute. Sam Walker fell over his own feet, and Colchester came away from the match with a point, which they probably did deserve in all honesty. Look at the stats, they battered us. And then just before that one, we had a 1-0 defeat away at Fleetwood Town. They got a really early penalty in the game. I think we actually conceded that through Andy Cook, didn't we? So he plays quite a big part offensively and defensively, but in the first half we didn't really create much. We changed our entire system and tactics around just to fit Verden Oliver into the side. Don't know why we tried to do that, and then obviously in the second half we absolutely battered them, but just couldn't find a way through. We had a lot of shots, but none of them were really close to the goal. Their keeper only really had to make 1 or 2 decent saves, so that was a really frustrating result for us. Compared though to Crewe Alexandra, they currently sit 5th in the League 2 table. After 17 matches, they've got 8 wins, 6 draws, and only the 3 defeats. That is the joint lowest in the division, alongside Walsall and Port Vale at this moment in time. They've scored 21 goals and also conceded the 15, which is the lowest in the entire division. That leaves them on a positive 6 goal difference and 30 points. Their last couple of matches then have been a draw, a win, a draw, and a win. So really good form for them at this moment in time. There's not really many goals in their matches, and with our leaky defence so far this season, I certainly think their goals for category is going to increase after this one. Their last couple of matches then have been a 1-1 draw away at Carlisle United. For some reason, Crewe didn't play midweek. If anyone can let me know down in the comment section down below why they didn't play, that would be much appreciated. But Dom Sadie opening the scoring after just 2 minutes, and Crewe kind of sat in, went to the end basically, and Georgie Kelly gave away a penalty which Jack Lancaster converted. Statistically, Crewe did just about edge the match with a couple more shots, an extra shot on target, a bit more possession as well, but a point probably was a pretty fair result. They also had a 1-1 draw away at Port Vale. Jack Lancaster again on the score sheet with a 92nd minute equaliser after Jack Shorrock opened the scoring on 3 minutes. Raheem Harper saw red just after half time, and look at the stats. Crewe absolutely battered away from home the league leaders. Yes, the red card obviously does massively change the game, and Crewe under Lee Bell over the last couple of seasons have been excellent, especially on the ball. They're a very good technical side, and that was a very good point for them to rescue in a game which I think is deemed a derby. They also had a 2-0 win at home to Notts County, despite Chris Long seeing red in that one. Notts had a lot of chances, a lot of the ball, but not really clinical enough. Crewe, they had 3 shots on target, scored 2 goals. Ryan Cooney with yet another penalty so far this season. The goal from Shiloh Tracy was brilliant, but I think I'm right in saying that the penalty Cooney scored, the incident which led up to the penalty, was never a penalty in a million years for me. I think Matty Platt actually was the alleged offender. They also had a 1-0 draw away at Walsall. Again, you look at all these fixtures that they've had. They've played a lot of the better sides in the division recently. Omar Bogle scoring the only shot on target that Crewe had in the match. Only 3 shots for them in that game, where there wasn't really many chances for the visitors, but Walsall did eventually equalise quite late on in the match to rescue another point for them. And in the FA Cup first round, they lost at home to Dagenham and Redbridge from a Bantam, Dion Pereira scoring a penalty in that game, and obviously I think they went on to beat AFC Wimbledon in the second round. So fair play to Dagenham and Redbridge, and fair play to former Bantams Dion Pereira and Romany Critchlow. But before we do any further with today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Can we try and hit 50 likes on today's video? That would be massively appreciated, and don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. What would your starting 11 be for this match, and what do you think the full-time result is going to be? Let's move on then to my team for this clash away at Crewe. Now, I would expect us to go there and lose. That is my expectation based on both teams' recent run of forms and how difficult it is to go away from home against Crewe and win. And with our recent poor run, Crewe Alexandra is really on thin ice at this moment in time. Although we know the problems are deeper than Crewe Alexandra, we're just absolutely miles off it for the large part, aren't we? So for this formation, I have slightly tweaked it. Instead of the 3-1-4-2, I've gone with a 3-4-2-1, so a very similar formation to what MK Dons play. So rather than having 2 strikers, 2 number 8s and a holding midfielder, I've gone 2 kind of number 6s and then 2 number 10s and then a lone striker, because what's the point in just going like for like and chucking Oliver in over Andy Cook? That's never going to work. We all know he's not the answer, so the less strikers that Bradford City can play, I think, is better. And I actually think this system would suit Andy Cook as a lone striker, because we saw in the 22-23 season when he played as a lone striker, the man got 31 goals. So that is the reason why I've gone with the 3-4-2-1. In goal, I've gone with Sam Walker. I thought again on Tuesday he wasn't amazing. He slows down a lot of opportunities to distribute the ball early. He slows down and it does frustrate the fans, and I think even Barrow's goal he should save, in all honesty. It's at the front post. I think he should do better with it. He gets a hand on it, but again, just not strong enough. He didn't really have much else to do in the game, nothing that I can really note. There was a couple of times though where he kind of gets pinned in on his goal line and isn't commanding enough for the crosses, and I still really do believe goalkeeper is a position that we need to improve in if we want to be promoted. Sam Walker for me so far this season has not been good enough. In terms of my back 3 then, I have made a couple of changes. I would start Aidan Baldwin for this one. I thought he should have started against Barrow. They went with Brad Halliday, did the management team, and obviously Halliday plays a little bit of a part in the goal that we conceded. If he originally clears the first ball from Barrow, then they won't recycle the possession. The cross doesn't eventually then come into the box, and obviously Barrow do score from that. And I think Baldwin for me is the much better player on the ball. He's excellent, and with Crewe's small pitch, you need players who can pick passes. Baldwin can definitely do that, so I would certainly start him at right centre back. In the middle, I would stick with Paul Huntington. I've been very impressed with him so far in a Bradford City shirt. I thought against Barrow he was absolutely brilliant for 95% of the game. I've seen a couple of people blaming him for the goal that he doesn't track his runner, but I think Jack Shepherd's got to do so much better with that. He can see the man, whereas he's behind Paul Huntington, the Barrow goal scorer. So I think Shepherd was more to blame, to be fair. And I think Paul Huntington in the air, he's absolutely excellent. I think he won every single header on Tuesday night. I've been really impressed with him for the large part so far, and with his contract set to expire in around a month, 6 weeks, something like that, I think if he carries on playing the way that he is over this Christmas period and he continues to prove his fitness, I don't see a reason why he actually wouldn't get a longer term deal. At left centre back, I've gone with Kieran Kelly. Now that we know he's back fit and available, obviously he was on the bench on Tuesday. I would expect Chet Diabate to go back to Exeter in January. His loan move hasn't really worked out for the large part. He's had a couple of decent games, but on the whole hasn't been amazing in a lot of them, and his loan spell hasn't quite gone the best. I think Huntington will probably be the better player to keep, either him or Diabate. But in terms of Kieran Kelly, I bring him back into the side. I don't think Jack Shepherd has been very good for a couple of weeks now. He's not been poor. I think he should have done better with the goal on Tuesday, and he was just a little bit too negative in his approach. He was constantly passing backwards, was Jack Shepherd. So I bring Kieran Kelly back into the side, and once again we would be starting with another complete different what's the selection of back three, if that makes sense. We've had so many different combinations. That's what I'm looking for, a different combination of a back three, but I think that looks pretty strong on paper. As my right wing back, I would go with Jay Ben. He's very similar to Jack Shepherd. I don't think he's been very good for a number of weeks now, but his replacement is Brad Halliday, who I don't think is much better, in all honesty. Jay Ben has proven so far this season he can have that attacking output. Just recently seemed a bit reluctant to put crosses into the box. I'm not too sure if that's something the management team have told him to do. Hopefully it's not, because that is his best attribute, is his crossing, but recently just not really been doing so. As my two holding midfielders then, at first I would go with the captain, Richie Smallwood. I saw him getting a lot of criticism after Tuesday night's performance, and I would say in the first half he was probably the best player on the park. I thought he was really, really good. He was the only player who was actually playing them progressive forward passes, but because you don't have any pace in the team, he's not really the man that you want to be counter-attacking with, because while they can pick a pass 95% of the time, sometimes when you've not got the pace, his passes then look a bit daft. But he won the ball back loads in that first half. Second half, I must admit, he did kind of reduce his quality a little bit. I'm sure obviously not intentionally, but he did give the ball away quite a lot, and he wasn't really winning the ball back as high up the pitch. So I can understand why fans might be a bit more reactionary to the second half rather than the first half, but I think there's got to be a balance in. I think on the whole, Smallwood did have a pretty decent game, and I would partner him with Corey Evans. It was strange to see him not even on the bench on Tuesday night, in all honesty. I've been quite impressed with what I've seen of him so far in the Bradford City shirt, and I hope that it's not injury enforced, but I think away at Crewe you need to be defensively sound, so to have Smallwood and Evans, the experience in that midfield, I think would be very important against the youthful Crewe midfield. As my left wing back, I would stick with Lewis Richards. I thought it was obviously quite nice to see him back in the team on Tuesday. I wouldn't say he had an amazing game. They put a few crosses into the box and was a bit more of a threat on the left side compared to Jay Ben on the right side, but Richards is obviously the best left wing back at the club, and his only real competition, Tyrick Wright, is obviously going to be out for another 2 months or so with that thigh injury, I think it was. As my two number 10s then, at first I have gone with Alex Patterson. It was nice to see him get a start on Tuesday. I think an hour was probably always the expectation with Alex Patterson, but when he's fit and available, he has to be in this team. He's the only real player with energy, with pace. We've not really got many of them, so when the ones that you do have, you have to start for me, and I think whichever side you put Patterson on, he can rotate between the other number 10. We need to get him high up the pitch. We need to get him creating chances, getting shots off as well, because he's a little bit too deep to be really getting them shots off. We saw what he can do away at MK Dons. He's just not really had many other opportunities to do that so far this season. And as my other number 10 then, I will go with Bobby Poynton. Absolutely changed the game again on Tuesday night, and obviously I've seen a lot of people say that he's much better as a substitute rather than as a starter, and I wouldn't say I disagree with that, but when his replacement is Clark Adore, who's had maybe 1 or 2 good games in over 60 appearances for Bradford City, or it certainly feels like that, I don't really know why we're still persisting with him. I think Adore needs to go out on loan in January, with Anthony Sarcevic back probably for Tuesday's game against Stockport. That'll be massive for us as well. Hopefully he can get an hour in that game, but I really do think an attacking two behind the striker of Poynton and Patterson, they would work really well with each other. The quality that they've got, the one-touch passing, the energy that Patterson brings as well, I really do believe that that would work. And as my striker, I've gone with Ollie Sanderson. I don't really think it matters who you start. If it's not Andy Cook, they're probably not going to score. The only reason why I'm sticking with Sanderson is because he scored more goals out of all the other strikers. I don't want to see Oliver start this game. I don't think Tyler Smith would work as a lone striker. Callum Kavanagh brings no real goal threat. Ollie Sanderson, I don't think was awful on Tuesday. Links up the play well, but again, didn't really have many opportunities to really put towards goal. I think he had a header potentially, which after Cook put in a really good ball from the right-hand side in the first half, but that was about it in all honesty. And I think Sanderson is just better than the other ones. You know, there's not really, it's not a high standard if we're honest, is it? On the bench then for me, on paper, it doesn't look as weak as what we saw in the games like away at Cheltenham or away at Fleetwood. I would go with Colin Doyle, Brad Halliday, Jack Shepherd, Jamie Walker, Clark Adore, Callum Kavanagh and Verdane Oliver. The players currently unavailable are Callum Johnson, Neil Byrne, who's obviously serving the second of a 3-match ban in this one. Anthony Sarcevic, as we know, is back in full training, but he probably won't make this game, unfortunately. Joe Adams, Tyrick Wright, and obviously Andy Cook as well with his 5 yellow cards. He's going to be serving a 1-game ban. So the players who miss out then through selection will be Zach Hadey, Czech Diabate, Gabriel Wadsworth, Tyler Smith, and Harry Ibbotson. In terms of a score prediction for this match, I'm going to go with a 2-0 defeat. Unfortunately, I don't see us getting anything from this game, especially without Andy Cook, but we need to start scoring goals. We need to start keeping clean sheets as well, and I really do think this will be the best team for Bradford City to play if they want to be successful against Crewe Alexandra. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. 50 likes on today's video will be massively appreciated. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one. Peace.